a nice and intimate group today. We might have a few more joining later, but I just wanted to introduce this session. Every week, we invite an expert to speak about topics related to digital marketing and how to attract your target audience online. The topics are usually sent via email a week in advance and also shared in our Facebook group, Skyrocket Blog Traffic. So be sure to be on the mailing list. The replays will be put up in the Facebook group, Skyrocket Blog Traffic. I will paste the link on the chat box so you can join it just in case you have to leave halfway and miss out on the good stuff. So I'm very excited to be here with Emma Bates today. If you are here, you must already know the rising importance of video marketing. Without further ado, I will just hand over to Emma to introduce herself, what she does, and everything about video marketing and how it relates to content marketing. Feel free to say hi on the chat box anytime. And if you have any questions, you can also post your questions there. At the end of her session, we will have this Q&A session so you can ask her anything. Emma, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm letting somebody else in. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to talk a bit about content marketing and video marketing and how to use video to make your content creation go quicker. And then we'll throw in some stuff about SEO. And Isabel, if at any point you want to add something, feel free to interrupt me and put your point of view in, because you know way more about SEO than I do. So, all right, so I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you guys see a strategic guide to content repurposing?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right, so this is me and my business partner, Kathleen, and we run a company called Amplify now, where we do video first content marketing. Today, we're going to cover some main points here about why content marketing is so important, how video first content is going to save you time, what it means to repurpose content, and how to create high quality video content. Benefits for small business owners. It's cost effective and generates more leads than traditional marketing. So I'm going to go into some statistics in a little bit, but just keep in mind that video content is definitely the way content marketing is going for the future. I mean, every platform now has a mini video thing. Even YouTube's added shorts, and TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Everybody's got some sort of stories type of thing now. Video content will make your business more relevant in the online marketplace. More and more people are looking at video before they jump into working with a company or buying something from a company. And really, the pandemic has just made this process quicker than it was going before. So this is definitely something you need to be keeping an eye on. You'll be able to create consistent content that can be published on every platform if you start with video. I'm going to be walking you through sort of our the way we do things with clients, our process, and you'll be able to see sort of how when you start with video, it makes the rest of your content creation so much easier. And then it allows for more control over your message. So I know a lot of people, they can't keep up with all the content creation, and so they'll outsource to a ghostwriter or people who can contribute content in different ways. And that can be great, but a lot of times ghostwriters can't really get your voice. They don't make the same points you'd make, and you end up doing more editing than you might have done if you'd done it yourself. Okay, so what is content marketing? Content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing value, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer interaction. This is a quote from the Content Marketing Institute. Anything you create and share online is content. A lot of times people think of content as blog posts, but content can be pretty much anything. It can be your website or blog, it can be your social media profile and groups, it can be email newsletters, videos, graphics, all of that is content. You want each piece of content you put out into the world to be purposeful and bring your ideal customer to you. It should not be content for content's sake, but a way to attract the right people to your offer. What does it mean to repurpose content? Content repurposing requires altering a piece of content to make it fresh by changing the angle or switching up the format. Integrating repurposing into your content marketing strategy can lower costs, advance production, expand audience reach, and provide myriad additional benefits. Again, a quote from the Content Marketing Institute. This course will focus on ways to make content creation easy through repurposing. We start with video, then use that video to create long and short form videos, blog posts, emails, graphics, and more. Okay, so let's dive into some statistics here. Why should small businesses use content marketing? Because content marketing costs 62% less and generates 3 times more leads than traditional marketing. In fact, Coca-Cola invests more money in content marketing than they do in television advertisements. Think about that for a minute. Coca-Cola itself, I mean, honestly, if I think of Coca-Cola, I think of like the big production television ads they do, but they're actually spending more money on content marketing. But creating consistent content is a never-ending chore, which is why it's important to make the most of every piece of content you create. And that's why we believe in a video first approach. Gives you the most bang for your buck. By 2022, online videos will make up more than 82% of all consumer internet traffic, 15 times higher than 2017. And actually, I should probably update this slide because I saw recently that it's actually going to be an even higher percentage of consumer internet traffic. Again, like I said before, the pandemic has accelerated this process. 93% of people doing business say they've landed a new customer thanks to a video on social media. 47% of B2B decision makers consume between 3 and 5 pieces of content before they talk to a salesperson. 80% of executives and business owners prefer learning about a business from content rather than advertisement. But only 25% of companies publish videos every week. If you're not in that 25%, you're falling behind. The thing is, it's not the best product, service, or business that wins. It's the best marketing. So how do you create high quality video content that can be shared on multiple platforms in multiple formats? All right, the megaphone method. It's the fastest and easiest way to create consistent content and reach a wider audience. All right, so here's how it works. You start with video. That video gets edited and it turns into one long 5 to 10 minute video, but it has about a single topic. This is the video that goes on. YouTube is now owned by Google. It is part of the largest search platform out there, and they are prioritizing video. It also can get broken down into 1-minute snippets, 30-second snippets, 15-second snippets. The long video is transcribed. It's turned into a blog post, an email newsletter, and social media copy. And then you can make all your different graphics to go with it. So, you know, your featured image for your blog post, Instagram quote graphic, you pull some of the quotes from your blog post, square image, tall image for IGTV or Pinterest, your YouTube cover photo, all of that. So you're starting with this one video and you're getting all of this content to go with it. By creating a video first, you control the voice and tone, which means that all the following content will be consistent. It will be your voice, your words, your meaning that goes out into the world, leading to content with a consistent message. All right, let's talk tech. People get scared. It does not take that much to make good videos. Hardware, you're going to need a smartphone. Honestly, at this point, smartphones have such good cameras that you don't need to invest in anything else. It's going to be better than the camera on your computer. It's going to be, you know, not worth it to buy a $4,000 camera with a video option. You know, your smartphone in most cases is going to be 4K if you've bought it in the last, 3 years. So smartphone is what we recommend. You're going to need some sort of mic. I have gotten this cute little lapel mic that plugs right into my iPhone. I got it for like $11 on Amazon. It's not that big of an investment. And then you're going to need some sort of lights. I'm using a ring light. You can also use like a lume cube. There's a lot of different lights out there, but you just want to make sure you've got a good light that's in front of you so that people can see your face. All right, so for the software, we actually use Keynote to make the intro and outro graphics for videos. It sounds crazy, but you can do it really easily in anything like Keynote, PowerPoint, Canva. And then we grab, if we need stock photos, we grab them from Unsplash. And then we use something called Vecteezy if we need any B-roll sort of stock video. For stock audio, we've used 123RF, Stock Unlimited, and Audio Jungle. There's a ton of sites out there. Some of them have free options. Some of them you pay like $3 or $5. But you just need one little jingle for your own videos, something to play over the introduction. Just pick something that talks to you, that makes it feel like your brand. And then a video editor. There are a lot of really good video editors, Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, Filmora, but we're actually using DaVinci Resolve now, which you can download for free. It's software that's used for motion picture films, but they've made a version that can be downloaded for free that just doesn't have all this sort of super high-end stuff. It's really good. It's easy to learn. And I highly recommend it. And then you'll need some sort of transcription software. We use otter.ai. I like it because it learns, and so you're not constantly correcting everybody's names, that type of thing. It learns what you're saying. All right, and then I'm going to talk you through our process. So we always start with brainstorming. We have a whole list of questions, but these are sort of the 4 key questions that we ask clients before we start working with them. What are the questions people ask when they're thinking about working with you? What are the questions people aren't asking but should? What is going on that is wrong, bad, or the old way, but people think is normal? And what is causing your audience to struggle because they think the way it's supposed to be? So these are the 4 questions that are really important to sit down and answer, and they're going to give you a whole list of content topics that you can talk about. This is an example. We actually had a scrap metal recycling yard who was a client, and we went through the process with them. These are some things that they came up with. So for questions that people do ask, what are the prices doing next month? Should I sort or separate? What should I look for in a scrap yard? Questions that people aren't asking but should. How does a scrapyard work? How are materials classified? How do I read the scale? What's going on that is wrong or bad? They talk a lot about a lack of pricing transparency in the scrapping industry. And then what's causing your audience to struggle? They struggle with knowing what is the right treatment from a scrapyard, don't know what objects to take apart and what objects to leave together. So you're going to take all the answers you have to those questions, and I think it's really helpful to brainstorm with a buddy, somebody that can take notes while you just sort of talk off the top of your head. Personally, I find that a lot easier than trying to write everything down myself because I miss stuff. So it's great to go through it with a buddy if you've got that option. So these are sort of some of the stuff. These are some of the topics that they decided that they were going to write about or talk about. How often does price change at a scrapyard? What should I avoid in a scrapyard I'm considering? What are the best resources for new scrappers? And should I take item, whatever item they decide to talk about that time apart? They were going to make this into a whole series. So, what should I take apart from a car battery? What should I take apart from a refrigerator? They had a whole list of things. All right, so you're ready to sit down. You're going to be recording a video. Create a simple outline. Each video should include a story. So start each video by telling a story that's not about you. You can be the guide, but never the hero. If you've read StoryBrand ever, you'll recognize that. You can be the guide, but don't be the hero. If you haven't read StoryBrand, I highly recommend it. But you want the video to tell a story that somebody can relate to. If you don't want to use client names, just change them. But it should be a story that is either about you, but you've given it a different name, or about a client, something that's going to illustrate what you're talking about. Next, you want to have 1 or 3 points. 2 points feels unfinished, and more than 3 points, people aren't going to remember. So you want to have either one main point or 3 main points. And then each video should end with a clear call to action. It could be, download your freebie. It could be join your Facebook group, book a call. Doesn't really matter what it is, but you want to tell them what the next step is after they finish the video. Okay, don't write a script. I know it's probably tempting, but really, if you're trying to read a script, you're going to come off as robotic and disconnected. The only time we've ever seen this work is really somebody who's like a trained actor or a speaker who's used to using teleprompter. Anybody else, it just looks like you're reading. And when you're like that, you also are not making eye contact. One of the most important things, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is making sure you're looking through the camera and making eye contact. All right, so step 2, record. All right, here's some tips for recording. You want to make sure your phone is horizontal. So you want it to be like this. Don't want to record this way because it's harder to edit it to be a YouTube video if you've recorded it that way. You want to make sure your entire head is in the frame. So you want some space above your head. And then you want to make sure some of your shoulders and torso is showing as well. You want to make sure you've got plenty of room. Try both sitting and standing, which is more comfortable. When I first started making videos, I stood. It just felt easier for me. I talk with my hands a lot. It was easier to talk with my hands when I was standing. So just try both and see. Okay, here's some more tips. When you're recording, make sure you're thinking about somebody that you're talking to. It could be a client, it could be your best friend. Just kind of picture that person in your head and pretend you're talking directly to them. Make eye contact. It's a really big thing. If you're kind of looking over here and talking, your video is not nearly as engaging as it is if they feel like looking through the camera at them. Make it real. Honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect. Do your best. You can edit out your worst mistakes. You can edit out if you have to pause and clear your throat or get some water, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If you stumble a little bit or, I mean, for me, it's always my kids coming in to interrupt me. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't feel like you have to be this, cookie cutter image. Really just be yourself. And then each video should be at least 5 minutes long if you turn it into a blog post. Anything shorter that, you're really not going to have enough material. And then try not to make it more than 10 minutes. You want it to be engaging enough, people will stick around, and longer than 10 minutes, you're probably going to lose people. Okay, so step 3 is to edit. You're going to neaten up the beginning and the end of video, edit pauses, do-overs. If your child interrupts you, you can edit that part out, but you don't have to make it perfect. You don't have to remove every and ah. You're going to add an intro and an outro. Again, we use Keynote to create these, but you can do it in a ton of different programs. We keep the intros really simple. It's got our logo, it's got the title of the video, and then it transitions into the video. And then the end screen for us has our website listed on it. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. We like to add music to the intro. You can also use it at the end. And then we do have a couple of clients who like the music level dropped, but not completely removed. They like a music behind all of the talking on the video. Okay, so then you're going to export your video and you're going to upload it to wherever you're getting your transcription from. You're going to edit the transcript, make sure the words are the right words, put in punctuation if you need to. Again, I don't think it needs to be perfect. I think that, if you've missed a period or, there's a word that's capitalized that shouldn't be, it's not a big deal. Do your best. And then you're going to export the SRT file and you're going to hard burn the subtitles onto your video. We don't upload separate SRT files on like YouTube or Vimeo or wherever. We hard burn the subtitles in. It's a ridiculous percentage of people. It's like 80% of people watch videos on mute because, they're on the train going to work. They're in the room with other family members. They're wherever where they can't listen to it out loud. And so subtitles are really important. And that's why we always hard burn them in. Okay, so now you're going to create your 16:9 version, which is, horizontal for YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And you're going to create a tall version, 9:16. That can be for places like IGTV, TikTok, I think Facebook stories, any place that takes a tall. And then you're going to cut snippets of the video to share on social media. So our video editor, I am like so grateful for her. She's really good at this. So some places will take 60 seconds, some places will take up to 30 seconds, and then some places, I think the lowest is 15 seconds really that you want to go. So go through your video and figure out where you've, had a really good quote, or where you've made a point about something that can stand alone. You want these video snippets to be able to stand alone on social media and make sense. Sometimes our video editor will combine two short pieces to make it make sense as a standalone video. But you don't have to get like super creative and make it, you're cutting 5 seconds from here and 5 seconds from here and 5 seconds from here. Just cut out some snippets to share. So 60-second ones, square for Instagram and Twitter, 9:16 for TikTok, 30 seconds square for Twitter, 9:16 for TikTok and Instagram Reels, and 15 seconds square for Twitter and 9:16 for TikTok and Instagram Reels. So as you can see, oh, we've got somebody else coming in. As you can see, it is, we do 2 different sizes. We started out doing more different sizes, but really this is all you need. So each snippet of video you can export in 2 different sizes. All right, so next step is to transcribe and write. Start with a transcription, and then you're going to edit it to create your blog post. So you're going to add your headers. If there's a section you can turn into bullet points, do that. You don't have to stay like directly with the transcript. If you're like, oh, I want to add more to this story, or, there's a section that I think would be really important to add, great, expand it. You want at least 1,000 words. But you just want to make sure you've given it good SEO treatment. Make sure you have your keyword and all of that stuff. There you go. So here's all the things, subheadings, bullet points, clarification, backstory. We always do an external link and an internal link. And then you're going to pull your quotes for social media. So we use them both for posting on social media and for graphics. We do long form. It's not super long, but long form for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So, that might be 3 paragraphs. And then short form for Twitter and Instagram. And then you're going to create your graphics. So we create 3 graphics for each post at this point. We do a 16:9 horizontal, a 9:16 vertical, and a square. This just tells you, where you can use these different ones. If you want to create something different, this is going to be your content, and create what you want. I know some people, they want like 3 to 5 Pinterest pins for each post. So, do that. And then you can create quote graphics for Instagram using the social media copy you pulled earlier. All right, so this is our 6-month posting schedule. So first, you're going to upload your full-length video to YouTube. Create and format your post for WordPress or wherever your blog is hosted. Embed your YouTube video in the blog post. This is a really important step. This has your video accessible from multiple points. It helps people stay on your blog post longer so that your dwell time is better. And some people prefer to read and some people prefer to watch. So you're appealing, that's the word I'm looking for. You're appealing to more people. We love Missing Letter for scheduling to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. But whatever tool you choose, you're going to schedule your posts by mixing and matching your videos, your graphics, and the social copy that you pulled. Okay, so this is our 6-month posting schedule. It's just a suggestion, but it works really well for us. So day 1, you'll publish your blog post, YouTube video, IGTV video, and TikTok video. And then you'll push your YouTube video to Twitter and LinkedIn. We then schedule a Facebook premiere. Sometimes it goes out the first day, sometimes it's a day or 2 later. And then that week you'll publish short form and long form social copy with graphics. Each of these numbers is for the week. So we'll have 3 Facebook posts, 4 Twitter posts, etc. Weeks 2 to 4, you're going to do your short form and your long form again, with graphics and or videos. Weeks 5 through 8, again, you're going to, excuse me, you're going to have your short form, your long form, and then we do our 1-minute video to the Instagram feed on during this week. And then for the last 3 months, you're going to just schedule out your short form and your long form mixed and matched with graphics and video. And now these numbers are per month instead of per week. Okay. So here's what you learned. Why content marketing is so important. Because it'll cost you less and bring in more clients than traditional marketing methods. How video first content is going to save you time. Because you record once and then use that video to create every other piece of content. What it means to repurpose content. You're going to use your content in different ways across multiple platforms, and how to use your content effectively. You can mix and match each piece to create content for 6 months for each video. And that is the content creation method, the megaphone method.
Awesome. I really, when I first came across Emma's presentation, I was so in awe. Like, I didn't know how many times you can repurpose content just from one video. And some of the tools that she recommended, especially Missing Letter, I started using it, and boy, it's really shaved me off lots of time just from scheduling, because they have a smart AI and they pull out quotes from my blog. And so I don't have to come up with copies, each and every copies for each and every social media post. So that's really useful.
I love Missing Letter. We use it for us, we use it for all our clients, and it makes social posting so much easier.
Yeah. So guys, if you guys have any questions, you can drop your questions in the chat box for Emma to answer. I do have one question. So I always struggle with video editing. I've always put it off because I find that it's such a time-consuming job. How would you recommend someone who's maybe new to video editing to like really get started on it? How to be efficient with, cutting and editing clips?
So for me, I am not the best video editor, but if I'm making a video and I know I'm going to edit it, I go in right after I've made the video and do my edits because it's fresher in my head. I usually kind of notice where I've made mistakes. So I'm like, okay, I got to go 2 minutes in and 3 minutes in. And then I really like DaVinci. It makes it easy. There's a ton of videos on YouTube. If you are like, I'm not quite sure how to work this, it's pretty intuitive once you sort of have watched some videos and get in there. And then again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Give yourself permission to make it watchable, to take out the stuff, that embarrasses you, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, good point there. And I also have another question. So you did mention you place quite some emphasis on telling a story, and that's how you connect with your target audience. So say someone is new into the business, and they probably don't have testimonials from students or with clients that they've worked with before. So apart from their own story, their own personal transformation, how do you suggest someone expand on the telling story part?
So it's perfectly fine to talk about yourself, just don't make it obvious you're talking about yourself. So, usually if you're making a video, it's something you know about. And so you've probably had different experiences with it personally, or maybe with a friend, not somebody who's necessarily paid you. Just, use another name, make up a different name and tell it as a story that is not you. And, you can use hypotheticals. If you can't think of a story about yourself and you want something, you could say, so what could happen is, and then use a hypothetical story to illustrate your point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But okay, let's say I have an example. If somebody wants to be a life coach, and I mean, your life gets transformed probably only once in your life, and there is this only one big turning point in your life. And of course, you use this turning point as a story to tell your transformation. But wouldn't the audience get bored if you keep reiterating this one same transformation for this life coach wannabe?
Okay, so something like that. So you tell your full story one time. That's one video. Well, the next video, you're probably talking about something that's related, but not the same. So maybe you take a little chunk of that story. And so now, instead of talking about your full transformation, you're talking about, something that happened right before the transformation. You're talking about how things used to be. And then the next video, maybe you're talking about how things were after the transformation. Maybe you're talking about how that made things easier for you. So it's not like you're trying to tell the same story over and over again in different ways. You're then pulling out bits and pieces. You're talking about before and after. Maybe you're talking about a tool that you use, or maybe you're talking about a specific day during that transformation period. You break it down, you make smaller chunks, you think about ways you could maybe, kind of use that story, take a piece out and make it about somebody else. But it's really, the beauty of the content strategy at the beginning is that you really do kind of get very specific questions that you can answer. How do you do this? Or why is this important? And it gives you a way to really focus on parts of your story instead of the whole overwhelming story.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a really good point. I mean, for people who run out of ideas to talk about, that's definitely, you can really peel a lot of layers just from one story alone.
Yeah.
And I also like your point about repurposing. This whole topic about repurposing has come up a few times, like even in the previous session, how like it came to me how this fact that not everyone likes to consume text or not everyone likes to consume audio. So it's really important to repurpose content into different multimedia formats. And your method's really, really effective with easily piecing each and every snippet of your main video out into all these different multimedia platforms. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of ironic because I never watch video from anybody else because it's just not how I consume information. And I know for so many people, it is like, the main way they absorb things, but I have to read it if I'm going to remember it. So having a way to, have what you're trying to say be absorbed by as many people as possible is just, I mean, it's so important. We have one client who he makes it a video, then we remove the audio and turn that into a podcast. So he's got audio and video, and he's got the transcript blog post. So, people can read it, write it,
Yeah, wow, that's great. Yeah, that's really helpful. So guys, in case you guys missed or if the slides went too fast, the replay will be up on the Facebook group. Emma will also be there to answer any questions you have if you want to follow up. But I hope you guys really did take away some information from this session. Really glad you guys came along with us.
Thank you.
Any last questions? Yeah. Otherwise, we will see you in the next session.
Tag me in the Facebook group if you have a question.
Awesome. Take care, guys. We'll see you in the next session next week. See ya.